So you've seen something on eBay that you really like, quite a costly purchase and quite far away from where you actually live. So you're going to need it posting to you. You decide to buy it on the grounds that eBay has buyer protection. So everything's okay, correct? No, not quite so simple, guys. I'm going to tell you a little story about a transaction that went a bit upside down for myself, which may make you think eBay buyer protection, beware. So I recently decided to purchase a set of Zipp wheels, which are racing wheels for my cycle bike, which I was intending to use for competition, see above. Now they looked like a decent bargain at the time that they were on, and it was a bidding auction. The final selling price to me was a little over £280, which I thought was an absolute bargain, in fairness. And the plan was to use these wheels as spares for an upcoming race where I was competing for my country. Now, I purchased the wheels, and eventually I had a notification from the seller, who was in Sheffield, that he had sent said items through the post by first class signed for, which surprised me and I took it a bit strange that he was sending them first class signed for, because they're quite a large item at the end of the day. Though not particularly heavy and would have come in under the weight, the size was, well, probably a little bit too large for first class signed for, and I would have expected them to come either Parcel Force 48 or even Royal Mail signed for special delivery. So anyway, the wheels were shipped and I waited a few days and there was no sign of them. So a week on, I then started to do a little bit of digging and checked the tracking number that was on the website for Royal Mail, which said that they'd been delivered and signed for by somebody by the name of Reed. Now, I'd had the wheels shipped to my works address, and Royal Mail said they'd delivered them on a Saturday, which is physically impossible because nobody works in our office on a Saturday. In fact, the whole building is completely closed and locked up. Also, we have nobody at our facility by the name of Reed. So the following week, when I got back in, I then decided to go and check around some of the local offices to see if anybody there was by that name and had potentially taken delivery of my parcel. To which I found no was the answer. Nobody had taken delivery of it, and neither did they have anybody by the name of Reed working in their facility. So I then contacted the seller to see if they could clarify how the parcel was delivered and the postage method, and if they could do anything from their end. I also contacted the local sorting office, who were very helpful actually and gave me some insight into what they thought had gone on, though it did take me a week to get a satisfactory response out of them. So the seller was non-responsive and really didn't come back with anything at all. And since starting dealing with this seller, I've sent him something in the region of about 15 to 20 messages, of which I've had 4 responses, none of which have answered any of the questions that I've asked him. So, thank you for that, David. Royal Mail sorting office informed me that the item that had been delivered on that tracking number was a jiffy bag and not a large box containing a set of wheels. They'd actually been and visited the address where the item was delivered to, which just happened to be a little old lady or an old person on the opposite side of the town where I work. And when the person had opened said jiffy bag, they found that it was just an empty jiffy bag, nothing inside of it whatsoever. So this started alarm bells ringing, and as a response or unresponse from the seller, I sort of got a bit suspicious as to the fact that whether I'd had any wheels sent or whether the seller, so-called seller, had actually got any wheels in the first place, and was this just another one of those online scams. So I contacted eBay and inform them of the issue, and they immediately informed me that they would do something about it. I contacted them initially by phone and also sent them a message through the normal Contact Us system. They told me that they got my back, and that if I hadn't taken delivery of the items, then I would get my money back. Happy days. Not the case though, I'm afraid. They obviously put a freeze on the transaction. The so-called seller appealed said transaction and showed the fact that he had posted the item, and because he had proof of the fact that the item or an item was posted, therefore there were no comebacks on him. And at this point it suddenly dawned on me that I was going to be completely out of pocket to the tune of just over £280. Not particularly satisfied with that, I then started a process with messages backwards and forwards to eBay, eventually getting a response from their call centre, which I assume is in India because everybody that I was speaking to seemed to have an Indian name, that told me that I'd need to write to their complaints department for the attention of eBay buyer protection, which I did. I sent them a letter, that was about 3 weeks ago, and as of yet I've had no response. But then I didn't expect to get a response because, let's face it, eBay have had their money. The seller has got some kind of proof of the fact that they've sent something, not necessarily the right item and not necessarily to the correct address. But because it's showing as being delivered, and because they have proof of the fact they have posted something with a tracking number on it, they can't be held accountable, apparently, according to eBay. And therefore, it must be me. It must be me that has stolen the items and is trying to do a fraudulent claim. Well, let me tell you, eBay, I can assure you now, with all my time of dealing with you, buying and selling on eBay, thousands of pounds over the years, I can assure you now, it wasn't me. Look at my rating, and I won't be buying anything else through eBay ever again. Shame on you, eBay. You guys, be careful out there. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and if you think you're protected by the eBay buyer protection, think again, just to be on the safe side. Don't spend anything more than you're prepared to lose, just in case you're not protected. Good luck, guys. I hope you don't end up suffering the same way as I have, but it's not looking good.